Hi all, this is August 28th of 2023. I put this wine down on the 21st without yeast. I used Campton tablets to kill all the wild yeast in it that's inherent in the berries that I used. That being said, I put the yeast in on the 22nd, so it's been 6 days, not quite 6 full days, but I've pulled off the berries. I used a jelly bag so it was easy. It's just a matter of preference. Some people put their berries straight in and then dump boiling water on top. I've done that in the past. It works. My vessel that I normally use for the primary fermentation is a 5-gallon crock given to me by my parents that had used it, that their parents had used. So it's done a lot of fermentation. It's done sauerkraut. There's a lot to be said about using a crock versus using the carboys that most people use now. You can use buckets. It doesn't take much to make wine. It takes yeast, water, and sugar, and some form of fruit, berry, or juice. So anybody that says, well, that's just way too hard for me, probably hasn't tried it. It's not real hard. If you drink wine, you can make wine yourself. It doesn't have all the sulfites and the sulfates and commercial. It has a different taste. It's normally better because you normally make it taste the way you want to taste it. The specific gravity on this, the original gravity reading after I had put the yeast in and the sugar in, was I'm trying to remember. It was 1.088, and the gravity after taking this off is 0.996. So it's about done fermenting. Normally, if you get to 0.990, you can say it's done fermenting. I'll let it sit in here in the carboy with a water lock on it, just on the off chance that it's still going to ferment a little bit, and I will go from there with the sweetening. I'll have to do some calculations to figure out how much sugar or allulose or what to put into it. But if you sweeten it after it's almost done, there is a chance that it will carbonate a little bit. So caution, PSA incoming, be very careful with what bottles you use, because it can create a huge mess. Bottles exploding, glass shrapnel everywhere, and a sticky mess everywhere. Ask me how I know this. So just use your judgment. You can stop the fermentation by adding potassium sorbate. That hinders any fermentation after you sweeten it. You can pasteurize it, which you have to have the internal bottle, the contents of the bottle, at between 140 and 160 degrees. There's debates on how low you can go, but consensus says 140 degrees internal will stop fermentation. So that's what I normally take up if I'm going to pasteurize them. Okay, I use a 5-gallon crock. It's big enough for 5 gallons total. I don't normally do 5 gallons at a time. It's normally between like 3 and 3.5. I do use a jelly bag for the berries, which just trying to get as much product out of the bag as I can. It looks like I'm gonna have about 3.5 gallons of finished product. Well, a product that I'm going to put in secondary fermentation. I'll lose some more off of it. And yes, it's getting oxygenated just a tad. Shouldn't be enough to turn it to vinegar, and I don't think I'm going to have to worry about it too much because the alcohol content will be high enough. But I'm just trying to extract as much juice as I can out of the bag. I think that'll do. Okay. And yes, everything has been sanitized, hands included. So I'm just going to take a preliminary hydrometer reading. I'm not using a wine thief or a turkey baster. Okay. I started off at 1.092, and we are give it a spin, get all the bubbles off. We are at 0.994. 0.996. So it's pretty much fermented out completely. I'm gonna have to see if it will go any further. I'm not real sure if it will, but it's at 0.996, so probably will go just a little bit further. This started at 1.088. I started it on the 22nd. I actually started it on the 21st because I started it without the yeast. I wanted to get it because I used Campden to get the wild yeast out of it. So this is all pure Premier Blanc yeast. It's got a potential of about 14%. So we are going to start draining it off. Okay, I just got done putting it into the to the carboy. Looks like I have, well, just shy of 3 gallons. Now, I'm going to fix a water lock to it. It should be done. You know, it was 0.996. So I'll have to figure out what the alcohol content is right now. It started off at 1.088. It is now at 0.996. This is at a semi-dry tasting right now. I have loads of family members that prefer the semi-dry, so I will probably rack this off in 2 separate vessels. That way I can make one sweet and I can leave one as either semi-dry or add just a little to bring it up to semi-sweet. The cherry in it is, it smells wonderful already. And it's got a little funky smell to it at this point. It's young, it's 6 days old, so it's gonna have a funky smell. Time is the only thing that mellows out a brew. So use that. If you want to drink it young, then knock yourself out. I am not the type that likes it real young. Now, I do have another video on an easy made wine from juice. It is meant to be, you know, consumed when it's young or green. Anyway, have a great day.